Okay, welcome back. What is the best e-commerce platform and website for liquor stores? My name's Margo. I'm the director at Intentionally Creative, and I've got Alden, our founder here, which I'm going to be asking a range of questions from. So, Alden, are you ready to get started?
Oh, of course. Anytime we get to talk about liquor stores.
Great. So, for liquor store owners, just starting out, how would you compare the platforms? And if I was to name some, CityHive, BottleCaps, Shopify, WordPress, or any others, what are the main differentiators that matter most?
Yeah, so the big thing for liquor stores, number one is going to be e-commerce. So everyone's going to the web. There's third-party platforms like DoorDash, XYZ, and then there's also like you don't want to use those because they're taking such a large cut. You want to use something that's your own and that you're owning the audience so that you can also market to them and just other benefits. My goal again is always to drive people in store, but actually online marketing usually drives people in store. So there's the e-commerce and then there's the web presence and things that we look at as like a marketing firm. So for instance, SEO benefits and whatnot. So you got the big players are CityHive and BottleCaps, and then you have people who want to use Shopify and then very few WordPress, and then some others that are either more complex or just I wouldn't recommend for whatever reason. But again, if we break those down, I would say at the end of the day, I do recommend CityHive. The reason being is from a marketing standpoint, their SEO is number one compared. It will always outcompete a BottleCaps or Shopify site. However, a WordPress site done well will always win, but that's like if you're ready to invest 100,000 in really building it out, that's like in yearly fees. That's where you're just doing WordPress because you're gonna need a custom developer every single time that you need to make any sort of update or change. And then also with that, your inventory, you have to fully upload the inventory every time you add a new item. You have to upload the image, all the database details. And trust me, like we have a full database when it comes to our app, LiquorChat, which is AI for retail liquor stores, and it takes a lot of time and energy. So CityHive in bottle caps, again, it's just going to be like $100, $200 depending on what tier you're on. And the main difference between them is CityHive is going to take a cut. I believe it's 2.9%, and that's on top of credit card purchases that they take. But they're going to be lower on the platform fee. Their lowest one is $99, $100. And so the other one is bottle caps, which they take no fee. They make their money off of the just like product sponsorships and deals with brands and distributors. And they're going to be a little higher, I believe, 250. Here's the big difference though. CityHive is just eons ahead of BottleCaps in technology and capabilities, and when it comes to integrations and everything, they are actually the native integration for DoorDash. So even if you don't have a website or whatnot, if you use DoorDash, CityHive's team is the one that's handling that integration. Believe it or not. So when it comes to even like marketing, SEO, page building, just like new features, integrations, bottle caps is lacking. They need to get with the times or they're going to be put out of business. But again, it's just a different model. Like if you're a store that's doing 2 million or like whatever a year just in e-commerce, 2.9% really does start to add up. So I can see the benefits there. But you have to look holistically. Like if you're not showing up on the internet or whatnot and you don't have that customer base already, then you're not going to get the customers, and the 2.9% doesn't matter. Like again, like what is 2.9% worth for you? And let's say you're not going to hire any outside marketing agency or marketing support, and you're just relying on what that website, that e-commerce platform is going to do. 2.9% is the cheapest price that you're ever going to pay versus, let's say, even us. We're a boutique firm. We only work with the best liquor stores. And so our prices are just higher. It's going to be cheaper than even hiring us. And literally, like Margo, because we do sales calls like every day, every other day, people tell us they switch over to CityHive and their sales go up 30%. And like they are literally a competitor of ours on the SaaS part, and I'm still recommending them. So you can take that with a grain of salt on kind of like how powerful I think it is. But again, like we're gonna close out the year with 20 employees. Like all we do is be in CityHive and whatnot. We have dedicated people, and that's how much I recommend it. And we don't get a cut. I just recommend it because like from a marketing standpoint and then like free marketing standpoint, bottle caps is just it's just so hard to work with it. I don't recommend anybody be on it unless I see the appeal of saving that 2.9%. But again, because there's the brand sponsorships, there's like all that stuff, that like the homepage, you can't edit that. It's whatever they want to put on. So like their like featured products are all just going to be the national brands because that's who's paying the top dollar. On CityHive, you can fully customize the site outside of the footer and header, so you can put what products you actually care about. So let's say, especially the bigger brands, I'm gonna make a case for the bigger brands of actually losing that percentage on each purchase, because let's say that you have private labels where you're not making just 35% on wine. Let's say we have some people who are literally making 70 to 80% on a bottle of wine. The 2.9, like whatever that fee is, doesn't matter if you're making more than 2 times what the margin is going to be on the bottom line, and you're able to promote that as the number one item. Like who does this really well? Gary's Wine, and they do very high volume just online in addition to in store. They're like top 10 of the retail liquor stores every single year, and they're on CityHive, and I mean that tells you something. So that's kind of those are my views. If you're ready to like really invest and keep up with the times, right now tech is moving so fast. They're putting millions behind, like they're VC backed. They got tens of millions. They're valued at like $500 million. Like they're gonna keep up with the times. BottleCaps is not, and even if like BottleCaps isn't, you as an individual, just Shopify or WordPress, are not going to at all. In terms of just having a website, if you really want to do that, then just go to Wix, or I guess you can do, like I love Wix personally, but like WordPress, Shopify, any of those, just throw something up and you can have the e-commerce or not have the e-commerce. But again, you can just have a website. But if you really want to be competitive, just pay the $99 and get on CityHive and use it. Even if you have no sales on there, use it as an outreach tool to actually get on maps, get found, and that's going to drive your in-store business. I promise you that. It is downright just the smartest investment that you'll make, just from an SEO, just even that benefit outside of being visible on the internet.
Yeah, no, and look, and you're raising really relevant points. So what are some common misconceptions then that liquor stores would have about adopting an online platform?
I think the biggest one, and the people that we talk to, is usually people who have tried it and don't go on it. So a couple instances. One will be like, oh, we just do in store, nobody's going to shop online. Or they tried it and like, oh, we didn't have any purchases, so they couldn't justify the $99. Again, for the benefit, let's put it this way: the SEO benefit of how optimized a CityHive site is, and again, every single product is its own SEO optimized page. Think of it that way. And that $100 benefit is the equivalent of hiring like a $1,500 to $2,000 a month retainer SEO agency, much less like us, who like we start at 3K. But are full service. So I think the biggest thing is that you're actually going to make money online. Again, a liquor store at its best, is going to do 3 to 4% of their sales online. So anybody who says like, oh, we're going to do like 20, 30% are just, you're living a dream. At best, you're going to do 3, 4%. But what it's going to do is increase your bottom line on your in-store, where you're going to make more anyways. So let's say you don't get a single sale. It will help you by doing that. And we have test stores who we bring stores online to websites all the time, and they see the in-store benefit even without working with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the biggest misconception, that you're actually going to do the sales online. And again, everyone's going to tell you like, oh, you're going to increase X, Y. You're not, and we're a digital marketing agency. We're the number one digital marketing agency for retail liquor stores in the US. And I'm saying that.
No, and you're 100% correct. So maybe let's dive more into like the real usability of it from your experience. Which of these platforms do you think offers the most intuitive day-to-day sort of management for store owners to be aware of?
CityHive, and again, like literally they're a competitor of ours with LiquorChat and what they're doing, and I'm still recommending them. And we manage some of the biggest liquor stores in the country, so I think that should tell you something. But again, I would look at it this way: if you're, and no hate here for those people that have an Android, but CityHive is Apple, BottleCaps is Android, and everything else is like some no-name phone that people don't even know like what
Mhm.
platform it is. And that's kind of how I think of it. Like CityHive will just work. Sure, they have their problems, and your problems might not be fixed for months nowadays, but that's still out of the box. You're gonna have the best experience. And anybody who doesn't have that great of experience, honestly, I would say it's kind of your fault, because it really is turnkey.
So, how important then is it with having BottleCaps or CityHive to have that inventory integration available? Can you dive a little bit into that opposed to the other platforms?
Yeah, I personally think nowadays it's imperative. And again, I'm going to look at it from two perspectives: availability online, where people can actually see what you have, and then the sales, and then also the just the visibility on the web, with the fact of like SEO, which like we have to take that into consideration because we're a marketing firm. So let's look at availability, and that's going to tie into the sales. What we found time and time again, every time that we have tested it, is people are not going to make the purchases online. You can have the best like CTAs, you can have the best like whatever campaigns and whatnot, and best funnels, but at the end of the day, you'll see thousands of people go to your website, and they will
Mhm.
get all the way out to the checkout, and your conversion rate will be downright abysmal when it comes to just baselining it to the industry. CityHive has made a lot of just like advances for that as well. So have BottleCaps, but still, like, all of it lies in the visibility and the SEO, because you can think of it this way. Let's say you have like 2,000 SKUs. And if you just have a landing page, just like the homepage and about us, that's 2 pages. If you have 2K SKUs, you're going to have 2,000 individual pages, each one of which is SEO optimized. And that's just helping for your visibility, both inside your area, which obviously the local is the most important thing, which again, if you have a CityHive or a BottleCap site, first thing I want you to do is connect your Google Merchant Center. The first thing I want you to do. And then the second thing is your local feed, which is going to give you free ads online. Like, like the
Mhm.
sponsor stuff that you see when you type, like, I always use Tito's Vodka 750 as an example, that you show up there in case nobody else is showing ads in your area, because that's feeding off of the Google business page and your location there.
Mhm.
But just for the SEO benefit, I would put all the inventory online. But if you really want to activate just online purchases and like try to get sales that way, that's also available there. But again, this goes outside of the inventory integration, but you forget that you can start building your email and your SMS list with having an e-commerce platform, which that ties into the e-commerce, because you're gathering that information from the purchases, and then you can bring them on autopilots and re-engagement tactics, and just like remarketing and all of that. So I think nowadays it's integral, but maybe not for the exact reason that most people are looking at it for.
Yeah, great. So let's kind of then dive into the, I guess, ease of onboarding. Which platform would have the most easiest or simplest setup space for someone to onboard really quickly that you would recommend?
Yeah, I'm gonna play both sides and devil's advocate on this. So I have seen on both platforms people get signed up in 10 minutes, and then it's taken 2 to 3 months. It depends on what POS you have and how customized and deep your integrations are. Because if it has to go to the integrations team, then you're gonna have to do a bunch of stuff there.
Mm.
And like we signed up with a merchant, they were supposed to go live, and then 2 months later is when they actually went live because of XYZ custom feature that they wanted to do. So there's the base functionality of you just getting on there and tying in. And then there's like, oh, we want XYZ feature if we are even going to go with you. So there's the devil's advocate of both of those. I would say though, like again, like CityHive, you can just go to the website, you hit the like sign up now, takes you through the whole flow, and pretty much like you can be up in a couple days. Which, if you really think about it, is kind of wild to have a fully functional website in a couple days. So a fully functional e-commerce site in a couple days.
Mhm.
That just kind of like it just works and can take payments and can do all of your customer management, inventory, your items. You can even customize from away from their central database, and just like all of that. And also the integrations now are a pretty quick process in case you want to do the Google platforms, you want to do third party delivery, like even ship.
Mhm.
So depends on your POS, but in general, I do think that CityHive, which is who we steer people to, just because literally it makes our jobs easier and we can sell more. We're more successful if we use CityHive for merchants rather than a custom platform. And if we have to work with like a WordPress platform, then it gets really expensive for them because we have to involve developers.
So then I guess a very important part that liquor stores are going to want to focus on is how these platforms drive revenue. So from a sales growth perspective, what are the biggest revenue driving features in these platforms that are available?
Yeah, what's really cool right now is that's becoming, and especially from our perspective, that's becoming the forefront of where the new features are coming out with. The new features that are being that are coming out. And what was your question again? I'm sorry.
No, so from a sales growth perspective, which of the platforms is driving the biggest revenue, and what are the features that are available to do so?
Yeah, the biggest revenue again, it's gonna be marketing. It's gonna be because like think of it this way. Let's say you have an in-store list and you've never really done anything with it. The simplest thing of even doing like the autopilots of just like the re-engagements literally working by themselves, that's huge. Because again, let's say you're doing $1 million and people are purchasing 3 times a year. If you can target them with emails and you bump everybody up to do a fourth purchase without getting a single new customer, right? That's a 33% increase. So um overall, like I think just having the marketing tools and like what I like is for instance like on City App you can do their weekly promotions, which is auto sending out, and they're actually giving coupons and they're putting the bill for a portion of the coupons. For some merchants it's 25%, for some merchants it's 50%. And but you can do, again, you can just go into MailChimp or Klaviyo and you can just set this up as well. And again, if you're like Shopify, you're like definitely using that. Like Shopify and Klaviyo are just like the one thing I'd say I hate with CityHive is not being able to be as customized with when it comes to your emails, and then also with your analytics. I think CityHive is a mess, but which is why I love when we can work with like Klaviyo campaigns because we can do stuff like A/B testing as well. But I think the marketing is going to be the biggest thing, and then there's all this automated marketing, which is great. All the autopilots, regardless of which platform you use, they all have them. I think those are going to be the biggest thing. But again, just showing up on the internet is going to be like just the easiest win. And again, online, I fully believe this. Any sort of online marketing in this space is going to drive in-store traffic. And again, that's our always bottom line is I don't actually care how much money is made online. I care about the bottom line. And then also margins. Because what's the point of selling $10 million of product if you make 0%? At that point, just sit pretty and go to the beach.
Yeah. Then, sorry, but if you could, how does it actually directly transfer into in-store foot traffic? Could you maybe just explain that so that that point's really clear as to how that transfers over?
Yes. So let's say I'll break it down a very specific example. So email. Let's say you send an email where you're promoting, let's say it's a special bottle of wine that you'll do 10% off. Unless the deal is available online only, people will go. Let's say they're interested. And like let's say you send that only to people who have purchased or have a search history intent of searching red wine, or let's say you even said wine at that point. Let's say they go, they look at it, they get intrigued, you have a really good landing page, they put it in their cart, and they don't check out. They've gone as far of putting it in their cart. So, and like you can see, like we track in GA4 in Google Analytics the purchase journey, and it's literally they're in the checkout. They have to hit purchase now, and they don't. And we've done tests before where those same items will hide it in the store, and then we'll see upticks in the number of those bottles sold. Cases. And if you're doing $100 bottle of wine and you're selling cases, that email is worth putting out. So what it really is especially if it's a more expensive bottle of wine, that they want to go and they want to see what's the quality of this wine. Like again, like I mean, if it's corked or it's in a bad quality, that's huge. That's really important. But again, people want to browse, and I think like the thing is like they may go in there for that, I've seen people go to great lengths or 99 cents. But then also, like, I don't know, there's a certain element of, like, especially if you have a store that's actually worth staying more than 30 seconds in, of people browsing and like picking up, like, oh, I wonder what else I can get, sort of thing. And so that's kind of, we've tested this theory just to see like that hunch, and we've seen that come through as true. So that's like one very specific example, but just like take that and just go across the whole board. So if you really want to drive just online, you can say available online only. But I'm gonna play the advocate on that, where even if you have the most obnoxious, obvious banners, signals highlighting XYZ that says online only, you will get somebody who goes to the store and literally even shows you that email and tries to buy that. And at that point, you're going to cave, because let's say somebody doesn't go and save 99 cents on a bottle, that they're going to leave you a bad Google review, which that's death. Trying to offset one-star review for somebody who's from somebody who, like, honestly has nothing to do with your store. They might just be having a bad day. Again, when most people are reactive, when most people lash out, it has nothing to do with you. It's usually just because of own stuff in their life. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, no, and I think valid points. I know me personally, I love walking into a store. So when they are jumping onto these platforms, how easy is it then for the customers to sort of discover any new products, upsells, and promotions?
Interesting question. So here's what we see is, because we do heat mapping, and like we're looking at how people are navigating sites so that we can better optimize how we're designing sites. Like 70% of people are going to go straight for that search bar at the top. You're just conditioned to do so. Another 10-15% are going to go into the hamburger menu and just go to specifically wine, spirits, beer, which is why we keep those buttons at the top for people. That's like right there above the fold, with the fold being just like that first page without needing to scroll. And then the banners, I think the banners are the biggest opportunity, and then the product group that you put near the top. So again, what I like to do is I like to have banners at the top, because then you can put whatever your latest deals or whatnot, and that's going to be just rotating through, which that's the number one thing that merchants love, which is just, it's just so funny to me. For no reason, I love them too. It's just, but again, like there's movement, people get excited,
Really?
and then you have a product, whatever your focus products are, which again I recommend to be higher margin items, or those more like hard to find items. If people are coming for Jack, they're coming for Josh or whatnot, they know how to find that sort of stuff, and they know it's going to be available. So that's a non-issue. And then those kind of those three shop now buttons, that's how I do it. In those shop now and kind of those buttons, you can make it for whatever you want. So if you do like case, let's say case discounts, allocated items, like whatever is driving and interesting, like barrel picked, whatever is interesting for your store, just keep it above the fold, which is without needing the ability to scroll.
Yeah, I
And
see.
that's a great way to promote it.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I know you touched on this, but I am going to route back to it. So more just around the, I guess, pairing the marketing element with the e-commerce platform. What drives that strength? What are the essentials that I guess liquor stores really need to think about when they put marketing and the e-commerce platform together?
I think the biggest thing, and the number one reason where we see people lack, and we know this just because of people on our AI platform, is they don't have the context. Is you don't have the list to market to, and like yes, you can do ads and whatnot, but like building an organic list, you own that audience. You can pay ads to reach people, and they might be your target audience, and you can. There are ways to do it very cost effective and very low cost. But owning an audience, aka having your own email list, that's always been the greatest power. And you don't have to pay for that. You can send out an email every single day if you want. Do I
Mhm.
recommend that? Honestly, there are people who do it. There are people who do it really successful, and they make a lot of money because their strategy is really good. And those are usually larger chains who have the teams to support them, or even like we work with people who are sending pretty much almost every day, except for like one day very strategically. But I think the biggest thing is being able to build out your own list, which you can market to for free and very
Mhm.
easily. And then again, when it comes to marketing, just the fact that I always go back to SEO, the fact that you're visible online is just a huge tool in itself. And again, also just sorry on the marketing, like I said, number one thing I want people to do, number one thing is make sure that your Google Merchant Center is set up so that and then your local feed is set up so that you're showing those ads for free.
Definitely. So I guess then breaking down some of those services, the geofencing, the ads, the email campaigns, etc. Which of these platforms we've spoken about really aligns best to support those marketing tactics?
Doesn't really matter. And I'll make the devil's advocate for that. It doesn't matter because they all integrate and they're pretty easy. But what I would say, the one that's the most foolproof and kind of just like you can press a couple buttons and it works, is going to be CityHive, because even like we have a lot of issues with connecting with BottleCaps because they have to put the code on the back end. It really seems as though it's completely manual. CityHive kind of has those automated processes where you click a button and it's just kind of set up. Sure, they have their CS team, which I love everybody on there. Shout out Monica, but it's really they're just gonna be the easiest thing, and then the Google platforms, those obviously natively tie into all of the ad platforms, so that's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, great. So then I guess from your experience again, what are some early wins that you've seen stores actually accomplish when it comes to them combining the platform and as well as marketing strategy sort of coming together?
The earliest wins is when we can get people to send their first email. Some people have we've seen an email list of like 8,000 people and they've never sent an email, and I'm like, that's wild. That's tens of thousands over a year. That can be 100,000, 200,000 in revenue. It really could be. It really could be. Honestly, doing the low hanging fruit, which if somebody's like hops on a call with us and they're not qualified, or anything, like I always just tell people how they can win for free without even using our services. Like, why not? I'm always helping the small guy. And like number one thing we do is support small business and local businesses with competing with the chains, whether they're local chains or national chains, and how they can win. But I think sending that first piece of content, getting the autopilot set up, which is like all of, again, like 3 clicks, and just kind of seeing those early successes and then leaning more into it. What I hate is when people don't accidentally, again, by accident, don't like do the right things and accidentally get like banned, or they waste thousands of dollars just in ad spend, not necessarily on a service, or like when they use a marketing agency that it is somebody who's I don't want to say a scam, but just like, even if they're outside of the niche and they do something silly, like they accidentally don't target people who are 21 plus and get banned, that they get a bad taste in their mouth, and then it's just like pulling teeth with trying to get them to try it again. Like for us, it's not even worth the effort, as you know. But I hate people who accidentally get burned, and especially like marketers and marketing agencies and firms who more or less lie to their potential clients.
Yeah, no, that's very good points and comments I do hear. So if you were, I guess, bringing on a brand new liquor store and giving them some advice, and because you're so big on always sharing, which platform would you recommend to them? I know you've spoken about them, but like they're brand new. What would be some takeaways that you'd give and some advice that you'd share?
What I would say are, people are, and this is just from our own sales experiences, people either want a website or they don't. And if they're on the fence, we don't even try. I will always, and again, they're a direct competitor of ours when it comes to the SaaS, and I still recommend CityHive just of the ease. And especially when they come on with us, we recommend it because we can just make them more money. Just quite bluntly, we can make them more money if they go onto CityHive. And if they don't use us or any other marketing element, then they'll still make more money if they go on CityHive because the SEO is stronger. So at the end of the day, I'm always going to recommend CityHive. And again, that percentage that they take off of every purchase is not, it's nominal. You can say that is part of your marketing cost and chalk it up to that. But that's, again, if you only make purchases online. And again, like, I'm a big believer where having a website, I don't care if you make 0 purchases, the visibility that you get from it to get more in-store customers, that is worth it alone, where you will make up that cost just by itself in tenfold.
Yeah, perfect. And look, I think there's been quite a fair bit of information shared in this stream. So what maybe one more piece of advice just to give it out there to the liquor stores that are watching this stream, what would that be, out, and just something to leave them with?
I'm always going to say the second that you sign up for any e-commerce or website platform, the first thing you want to do is just connect your Google platforms. So that includes Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Google Merchant Center. And honestly, if you just do that, you're fine right there. Again, Google Analytics and Google Search Console, they cannot go back in time. So they only start tracking data, which is tracking data for free from the time that you activate it, and it's free. And you can use that later. So you're just gathering data. You're just gathering data at that point. Merchant Center, that's great because you can start listing your products. If you're not going to run ads, you can list your products for free, especially if you do the local feed. And those are going to show up for people and they're free ads. If you are going to do ads, then you you need that to pass through the information over to the ads. So that's the number one thing that I tell people to set up. Right after that is going to be the autopilots. And if you are like, again, if you're with CityHive, set up a meeting with your CSM, your customer success manager, and just have them just like be like, oh, like, what do you recommend? What should I do? And they'll help you customize that. And then what am I going to tell them to do afterwards? Hire us as their agency because we work with the best liquor stores in the country. We only work with liquor stores. That's what I would do if I was a liquor store signing up for an e-commerce or website platform, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, perfect. Look, I work directly alongside you and speak to these liquor stores, and I always find more to learn off you, Alden. So thank you so much for today. And I know everybody would have taken away some really great information.
Yeah, thank you as well. And I hope we, as always, bring some value to liquor stores that they can implement right away or, again, like 30 seconds or 30 minutes. That's always my goal. And just start making more money because, again, we want to help the little guys compete with the bigger guys. And not right now, the market is brutal. It is brutal, especially more brutal in November. And I'm sure like even going into December as we kind of like start recovering. And then Q1 is always death. So, yeah, anything we can do to help the little guys. And that's always our goal.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you so much, Alden.
Thank you, Margo.